G'day traders, welcome to wrap up of Monday, December 12th. So start of the new week. If you remember last week, the first 3 days of the week we very much pushed up and we were in a very solid uptrend. Thursday we saw some sellers come in, so very much got that pullback that we thought the market needed to have. Then Friday it got back on with the buyers and headed up again. So approaching today, a little bit undecided still. There's no specific trend really happening, although we are still up towards the top of trends, so definitely buyers are around. However, this particular day here, I'll just show the pre-market, is very much had a bit of a sell-off and looked like it really wanted to head the week starting to head down. So chances were that the market was going to head down for at least the morning session. I mean, these kind of days when we haven't got a specific trend happening, it's very easy to get two-sided action. So if we see a heap of sellers like we did in the morning, expect or look for some buyers in the afternoon. So that's exactly what the market did. It sold off really heavy to start off with, so pushed down through 1, 2, 3 power points. So even though there's great movement there, very hard to take real good advantage of anything there. We're looking for decent pullbacks and some change in direction. It's this area here when we start to get a turn shift in the predictive averages, looking for the market to pull back up around here to this 33 area, get a 6-7 point pullback, then look to go with that pressure and maybe get something like a 5-minute sell or a fade to the downside. In the end, it's just push sideways and not a lot you can do in that kind of situation. Approach one of these yellows, like we're saying lately, a lot of these yellows are starting to work now as the market starts to tighten up a little bit. Then approach this purple. Overall, this purple a little bit tough to take. The other markets were not all in sync with each other; they're a bit all over the place, so a difficult one. However, if you're looking at pure numbers and you like to keep your records, you know that this particular sell to the downside purple PowerPoint has had quite a few fails in a row, so it's definitely due for a win. And the fact that this one worked just signified that if you're just going purely with probability and numbers, this one was almost due to work, even though the setup wasn't the best. So that's always something definitely to keep in mind, and something definitely looking at towards next year is more automatic kind of system where we're going with numbers and more probability, as well as the discretionary trading. So that's a bit of an example of that kind of situation there. From there, the market's pushed down. Once again, the sellers continuing. So this is, like I said, back here was the area where we want that pullback, then get these sellers. But it's very hard to take on these sellers when we've got a sideways movement rather than a pullback, which is what we're looking for. From here, we start to approach lunchtime, so hit a bit sideways, start to have a bit of a pullback. Back here, start to get a pullback here, and then from here we got a 5-minute sell that almost came up in this area here. Just in the end, it just didn't quite signal, but this is the type of one where, especially we got a bit more pullback. The pullback was a little bit shallow, but we're approaching a power fade entry here, so it's almost one where if you believe the markets really want to go on with it and push down, even though you didn't get the sell, you could almost take this power fade. In the end, the market did turn around, but it's just an example of where if you believe the sellers are going to come in, just take the trade anyway and go with the power fade and get the nice entry. But from there, very very sideways action, bouncing between power points. You can see there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5, 6 power points, holding in a row. As then at this particular area here, we saw some of these sells fail. So therefore, when I see a sell fail, especially in the 5-minute, looking for the buy to all of a sudden come into play. Especially because we had a big sell-off, that there's definitely some buyers possible. I spoke about at the beginning where when you do get sellers, these kind of days you can very much have two-sided action. So expecting one of these to push up and break up and start an upwards trend. The predictive at this stage was going very much sideways. This one here definitely an opportunity, but still the predictive was going sideways, and eventually it did break up, and this is the one that decided to go through. So quite often you can pick these busts out by watching the 5-minute trade and look for that predictive to all of a sudden get the pressure to the upside. However, this particular case here, it was very sideways. It was very hard at the time to get this, but definitely keep an eye on the 5-minute chart and be aware of what's happening. The fact we've had sellers, buyers are going to come in at some stage. Not every day, but that's the likelihood of happening. That because we've had such a sell-off, these sellers are going to start getting out of the market, and what they do then, they've got to buy back their position, so that's what pushes the market up at the end of the day. And you can see then we had a bit of a rally back towards, halfway back towards the daily highs. Just bring up the 5-minute chart. Okay, see the market really pushed down pretty much most of the day. It's here that we had the pullback where I wanted to pull back a little bit more, then get a 5-minute sell. So this is ideally where you want to take that 5-minute sell. You want to get the push down and get that first pullback. This is when it's freshest, and this is when the sellers are going to be red hot, ready to go. You can see they've gone again. The sellers have pushed down. However, the pullback was just a little bit shallow. But this sell-off after a sideways movement is exactly what we're looking for. Then we push down again. So this is a fresh area. So still not a bad area here. We got the pullback. So that's what I mean. This particular area here, looking to sell, didn't really eventuate, but caught off, and this area can go on with it because we pushed down. We're encouraging new sellers, getting that pullback. Even if a bit of a deeper pullback, and then look to push down and break those lows. Okay, it's then these areas here which are not very attractive at all, and these two setups here both failed, but neither of them are worth looking at because showing you how that works. We've pushed down, pull back, push down, pull back, and you see then when we've got this pullback here, we're very much in a stale area. We're not encouraging new sellers. It's very sideways action, so therefore you want to start to leave those type of ones. And then as you see a few of these fail, when the predictive then crosses to the upside, look for a nice power fade entry to get going on the upside. But like I said earlier, the predictives, you can see it's very much sideways there. Nothing really encouraging. Want a bit more of maybe a pullback to the downside, and then a bit of a release of the pressure and push up. That's a wrap up for the day.